Recently, I was out of town for a work seminar, which meant I got to do a little bourbon hunting along the way. I went up through Illinois and up to Wisconsin, and I was pleasantly surprised at some of the things that I found, including something very unexpected at a small grocery store in a little town in Wisconsin. So let's get to it. Before I forget, just want to give you the heads up that I'm changing my schedule a little bit. I'm going back to only one full-length video release a week, so that way I can keep the standards and quality high for you guys and just be able to attend everything else in my life that I need to. My plan is to release at least one, if not a couple short at the end of the week, so be on the lookout for those. But by all means, stay tuned for tons of great content coming your way. So one of the things that I quickly realized as I was traveling about is that larceny barrel proof is everywhere these days. Current and previous batches, even some of the old style labels. So my first stop was Hy-vee Wine and Spirits in Bloomington, Illinois. They had quite a good selection. This debonair bourbon caught my attention. I'd never seen this before, and it won some awards. Unfortunately, it's sourced from Kentucky and Tennessee, so I decided not to buy it. Put out by a company called 28 Mile Distilling Company. Let me know, should I have grabbed that one? They had some single barrels as well, including this Keeper's Heart, and it was finished in maple syrup barrels, which, based on my Havana experience, I really was not eager to jump into that. However, this one was higher proof, 110, so it probably would have been a lot better experience than Havana as far as not being too sweet and syrupy, but I still had to pass. I wasn't super interested. I also found this Black Band whiskey. It had a few different varieties, but I picked up the bourbon to look at. It was a bit of a turnoff when I saw it. First of all, it was distilled in Indiana, so it was sourced. And it said distilled from grains. Well, yeah. Why you gotta say it like that, though? So I did not get that one either. Right around the corner, I went to Binny's. Now, I've been to Hy-vee and I've been to Binny's before, but these were brand new locations that I'd never been to. So I figured, hey, why not check them out and see what's going on? Binny's, if you've not been to a Binny's is literally like the Walmart of alcohol store. I mean, it's huge.
Sometimes they say huge.
It's ginormous. They've got all the alcohol. They've got wine and beer. They've got gin and vodka, rum, tequila, and of course, whiskey. So, plenty to choose from. And I noticed dark arts at Hy-vee. I didn't get a video of it, but it was at Hy-vee and also at Binny's. And again, it's sourced whiskey, it's finished whiskey, and for the price, $80, $90 plus, I just can't bring myself to grab one of those. If there's one that you guys think is really great and really truly worth the money, let me know in the comments. I'd be curious to hear your feedback. Now, one thing I was excited to find was Cedar Ridge Barrel Proof. This is one that I've been eyeing for a little while because it's distilled and bottled by Cedar Ridge Distilling. It's made in Iowa. The prices are reasonable, and I found a barrel proof version. So, had to grab that one. Excited to give that one a try. 116 proof, aged for, it says a blend of barrels 3 to 4 years old. Distilled and bottled by Cedar Ridge Distillery in Swisher, Iowa. So, stay tuned for a review on that one. I also came across this very fancy looking box, Milliman Green, which I've never tried any of their stuff, but this box caught my attention, so I figured I would at least check it out. It's the Unabridged Volume 3. Now, unabridged in terms of books refers to something that's unedited. So, this expression is cask strength, non-chill filtered. It pays homage to the master blender at Milliman Green, Heather Green, and her book, Whiskey Distilled. Heather was named Master Blender of the Year in 2023, which is pretty awesome for her. Kudos. And this one was released in September of 2024. Now, I didn't know any of this ahead of time. I didn't look it up. Price isn't too bad for it being cask strength, but I just didn't know enough to buy it. I just thought it looked interesting, so I figured I would record it for you guys and fill you in. Now, same thing there. Should I have grabbed that one? Have you tried any of the unabridged versions? The next place I went to is up in Madison, Wisconsin. A place called Steve's. Now, this place reminded me very much of a St. Louis area chain called the Wine and Cheese Place. It's basically what they were. They had a shelf of whiskey, they had a cheese, refrigerated cheese area, they had wine, they had some snacks and charcuterie board type ingredients. Very neat little store. The workers there were very kind to let me record. Now, I apologize, I should have done a better job of recording because they had some cool stuff. Now, if you notice, they have Woodford Master's Batch and they have Heaven Hills Grain to Glass Rye, both at retail pricing. The one that I did not quite catch on camera, you can see a little bit, is 1792 full proof store pick for only 59 bucks. So that caught my attention right away. It's pretty rare to see those around here in St. Louis. So I kept perusing. They also had a Jack Daniel's Tennessee Whiskey store pick for only 65 bucks. It was 134.9 proof. Woo! I also found this Upadon. I don't know how you say that. Upadon. Upadon. Alright, anyways. It's bourbon finished in Islay Scotch barrels. So peated Islay Scotch, smoky. It's different than Campfire because I was leery. I was on the fence at first. It caught my attention. It was distilled and produced by Upadon Spirits in Wheeling, Illinois. So it's a local company. So again, finished in Islay cask and French oak. Now the difference between this one and Campfire is that Campfire is a blend of bourbon, rye, and Scotch itself. It's actually mixed together. So this one's just finished in those casks. So the workers didn't really know too much about it. They said it seems to be popular, so I figured, what the heck, for the price, it's not a big deal, I'll try it. Now, they were also very kind to give me a sample of their 1792 full proof store pick and the Jack Daniel's Tennessee Whiskey store pick. And between the two, I wasn't really wanting to get both, but between the two, the Jack Daniel's edged out the 1792 just enough for me to pull the trigger on that one. Very excited to get Steve's Jack Daniel's Tennessee Whiskey pick and a bottle of Upadon, and we'll see. Again, stay tuned for a review of this one. Should be pretty interesting, for good or bad. Now the last stop was this little privately owned grocery store in a tiny town in Wisconsin called Mount Horeb. And I just stopped in because in the past I've gone there and I realized, hey, they actually have a decent whiskey selection. There wasn't anything at the time that grabbed my attention, but this time I found something very unexpected. I go in there and they had a Larceny barrel proof store pick. That's cool, it's a good sign. I look at the shelf, they've got some cool stuff there as well. They had Elijah Craig, the PGA version for retail. That was exciting to see. That's pretty rare around Missouri. More old Larceny barrel proof. They had a Driftless Glen store pick, and I saw this at several different places, if not like 3 of the stores that I went to. But I never pulled the trigger because they're not cask strength, and I don't really know much about Driftless Glen. They were like 92, 94 proof, something like that. So I just never pulled the trigger. But they also had an Elijah Craig single barrel store pick, and they had 1792 single barrel store pick. It was only 42 bucks. So of course I had to grab that one. This is definitely rare in the St. Louis area, especially for it to be a store pick. That's really exciting. I had a sample of their standard single barrel in the past, but I'm really excited to dive into this one. Maybe I'll even do a little side-by-side between the foolproof store pick that I have, and this one. And we'll see which one really is better. So there you go. I had a fun trip. I didn't see any real fancy unicorn bottles, which that's all right. I still found some cool stuff that I'm excited to try and to give you guys information about. So did you see anything on the shelf that I really messed up by not grabbing? What are your thoughts on Dark Arts, Milliman Green, Unabridged, and Driftless Glen? Let me know in the comments. And if you're not interested in spending time hiking around, driving to different stores to bourbon hunt, just head over to fruitbat.com and you'll be able to peruse tons of new bourbons. And if you use code TheSuburbanDad at checkout, you get free shipping. Can't beat it. Check out the link in the description. Thanks for watching, everybody. I'll see you next time.